Have you ever wanted to get revenge on someone but just haven't had the guts? Well, hopefully these r/pro-revenge stories, read by Red, will give you some satisfaction. Let's get into them. Wasted a scammer's afternoon and gas money for insulting me weeks earlier. Back in September, I went to look at a pair of moose antlers on Facebook Marketplace that my dad was interested in. He lives in a small cabin on my property and thought the antlers would look cool over his front door. We get there and the dude is clearly high on coke. Jittery, keeps wiping his nose, etc. We met him at a storage rental place, so he had to let us in with his code, and we were stuck in the facility until he let us back out. We get to his rental unit and he gets the antlers out. They were very clearly fake. He said he'd spray painted them brown to make them look as if they were still in velvet. It was obvious he'd sprayed them to try and make them look real. The weight was off, the colour was off, there were several large cracks in them and you could see they were white inside, not bone coloured. There were also several points broken off and the material inside was white and powdery, again, not bone. He kept insisting they could be fixed with some epoxy. Finally, tapping your fingers on them made a drum noise, so they were hollow inside. At this point, I hadn't said a word at all, I was just along for the ride with my dad. Dad politely tells the guy that we're going to pass. He thinks they're fake, thanks but no thanks. The guy goes off the deep end, screaming at us, calling us all sorts of names, insulting our mothers, etc. Then he starts screaming at us that we were locked in there with him and weren't leaving until he was ready to go. Dad and I get in the truck and luckily another customer was coming into their unit and we were able to get out of the locked gate when they came in. We both thought it was hilarious how off the wall this guy acted and how fake the antlers looked in person. I stew on this for a few weeks and finally come up with a revenge plan. I didn't say a single word to the guy and he insulted my entire family tree, wife, intelligence, etc. I created a new Facebook account with the dumbest old person name I could come up with, then I used a bunch of hide the pain Harold photos to populate it with. Then start adding as many friends as I can, posting dumb crap about old black and white movies, my prostate, etc. Spent a few days crap loading this account as much as I could. Then, once the account was 2 weeks old and I could get on Facebook groups, I go to a few of the groups I knew this guy was on and find some of his items he had for sale. Luckily, he had 2 large bookcases for sale. Great. Something big and awkward to move around. Next, I do some research and find the most pain in the butt location in my city to get to. I pick a place that has no highway on-ramps, so it takes at least half an hour to get to it off the highway. I message him and I ask if he would deliver since I only have a sedan. And he says yes! For $50 to cover his gas and a helper because they would take 2 people to move around. We set up a date and time and I tell him I'm going to meet him at a nearby grocery store since my house is hard to find. Finally the time arrives. He messages me that he is at the grocery store. Now I come up with every annoying old person slow thing I can think of. I'm putting my shoes on. My wife is in the shower and I can't leave in case she slips. Oh, we've not gone anywhere in so long because of this China virus. My car battery is dead. Mr. Scammer finally asks for my address and says he will find the place. I get on Google Maps and find the most pain in the butt street to get to, knowing he's driving a full-sized van and towing a trailer with the bookshelves. So I find a street in the very center of an old, badly laid out neighborhood. Got on Street View and look for where the house number stops and pick a number a few above that one. I tested it in Google Maps and Google Maps isn't smart enough to know that the house number doesn't exist. It just points you at the end of the dead-end street. So I relay this address. Of course, I make sure to mess it up a few times and get him lost in the process. After about 90 minutes, he messages me that he can't find that house number, but he's on my street. Can I please come outside? I reply back with, no thanks. No thanks what? I walked out there and saw them, not interested in buying. My Facebook account blows up for the next hour with him trying to call me, video chat, sending all kinds of horrible messages about how I'm a liar and a cheater. I never respond back. I check it occasionally, about every 2 weeks he sends me a nasty message still. Dude had no idea who it was that messed with him, or why it happened. I'm kind of debating about doing it again. That's such an evil plan. I really love it. Like that's a really well planned out revenge. That's a true revenge story. Okay, here is our next story. Unwilling to pay? let them eat man juice cake. I'm a 17-year-old web dev who can make basic websites and stuff to earn money for video games. The job's pretty easy for the pay. I get picked up by some local bakeries so people could pre-order cakes and stuff online. Took a few hours to puke out a functional backend and a day to make it all pretty. I'd agreed for $10, which is insanely cheap even for India. But all I need is video game money, so I'm good with that. When I'm done with the job, they needed to purchase the domains and a server, which I explicitly told them. You pay me $10, use another $10 to buy a domain, and $5 to rent servers. Total is $25. They gave me $15 so I could set their stuff up. Once the website was fully operational, I asked for my money. But apparently they didn't want to pay because if I wasn't hosting the server anyways, why do I need compensation? You know, because apparently time has no value. The thing was, I could still access the server as I had the credentials for the server. So, I go home, log in, and make one tiny change. The way the website works is that there's a customer page which shows you your orders, and there's a page for the store owners to see orders, payments, etc. Here's what I did. I added a small, inconspicuous, may contain man juice warning to all product details. In the page where it shows you your order confirmations to the customer, some options are changed with man juice, so like man juice frosting, by random. The website went down in about a week and they're back selling on Facebook, lol. Guessing someone complained or something. Oh, I love this so much. People really, I feel like, have no concept of the value of somebody's time. It's literally like those cake makers. Yeah, baker is the name for someone who makes cakes. Good job, Red. Well done. It's literally like those bakers only being paid for the supplies to make the cake and not for the time and skill that it takes to produce the baked goods. Oh my god, I can't talk today. Oh, I really enjoy r/ProRevenge. It's so revengey. Yeah, if you've got a better word for it, can you give it to me in the comments so that I know it for next time? Thanks. And please like the video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Bye.